everyone. Welcome back to Upfront Fridays. This is our May edition. I'm your host, Amy Barritt, and with me today is Alison Ernst, the new Assistant Director for Public Service at Traverse Area District Library. Alison, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really glad to say hello to everyone who I haven't met yet.
Because the reason we wanted to bring you on is, obviously, now you're going to be Traverse City's most famous person for at least the next 8 minutes.
Wow.
So your face is going to be all over the place, we like to think. So we want people to recognize you, know who you are, know that you're a friendly face. So thanks for coming on. So tell us about where you come from, because you don't know anybody in town.
That's true. I've only been here for about 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from upstate New York. I grew up outside of Albany, which is the capital of New York State, if you didn't know. And it's not as cool as New York City, but that's just where I was born. So I just have to deal with that. So I grew up there, and then I went to college in Amherst, Massachusetts, at a place called Hampshire College. And I stayed there for 30 years. I fell in love with the place. I'd grown up in sort of suburban, and then I moved to Western Mass, which was rolling hills and farmland and forest, but also a lot of culture, which is actually, and I know you're going to ask sort of later, so what brought you here? But part of why I'm so thrilled to be in this part of the world is the terrain here reminds me of Western Massachusetts and Vermont and all the places that I really, really love. So I'm super psyched to be here in this gorgeous, gorgeous part of Michigan.
Well, we're glad to have you here. I've enjoyed working with you already. Longtime viewers know that I work at the Traverse Area District Library.
Yes.
And we're so excited for your enthusiasm. Every day you bring it. And we always...
Aw, thanks.
She's always doing something fun in our meetings, like, hooray, when something like actually fun happens. So thanks for being enthusiastic. We're really loving it.
That's kind of just me.
Great.
Yes.
We like it.
I try to be my authentic self at work, which I don't know if it always works, and my authentic self, whether at work or here, is to get pretty psyched about things and to show it. You know, if you're happy and you know it, shout hooray.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to be a preschool teacher. That's where that kicked in from. Yeah.
Right, so you did children's literature for a long time. You worked in public libraries before, but you also had a consulting business.
I've done a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
I actually started out, my first job was at this small public library, a town of 6,000, which, if you've been paying attention to your local statistics, is about the size of Interlaken.
Okay.
So that was my first job, and but then I was working at what was once the largest boarding school in the country.
Wow.
Which was 2 campuses, 2 sides of a river with like 3 miles in between, and I was managing 2 libraries and 2 media centers. So to say I was a school librarian, it was really more like a small liberal arts college library thing. But then when I came to Michigan, I started doing consulting, which is basically just taking all the things I learned and loved and helping. At that point, it was mainly independent school libraries. Like my thing, and it's on my old business card, but I really believe it. Like my mission is to facilitate exceptional library service, and whether it's in a public library or a school library or whatever, that's really that is my jam.
That's beautiful. You bring a lot of tools with you. I know that you have a background in public speaking. You've got a background in like you said, facilitation.
I love strategic planning.
Strategic planning, that's the word.
When I was a little girl, like 4th grade, and someone asked me, so what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I want to be a baker and a hair cutter. I didn't think like I would like to be an administrator and do a lot of strategic planning.
Right.
But I found that I really love it because it's the tool that we can use to make great service happen. That it's not some like oh, you know, we sit in an office and we do this thing, but real life is over there. For me, it's really a way to gather information and work with people to make the cool real life stuff happen. But the other thing I want to say at this point, I want to give a plug to the American Library Association, because when I started working at this New England boarding school, Northfield Mount Herman School, they actually had more money than the little public library that I used to work for, so I got to get involved in library organizations nationally. So I got really involved in the American Library Association. I even got to be a part of the International Federation for Library Associations, and I was a delegate on the Information Literacy Committee, and I got to go to Durban, South Africa, and I'd be sitting in a room with people from all over the world, librarians from all over the world. So I'm pretty passionate about the whole library thing.
Right.
Like big time.
I feel like you're in it to win it at this point. So.
I feel like librarians are fighting the good fight, and wherever I'm working, like I feel really good about being part of the good fight that is librarianship.
Yeah,
excellent. That's my thing.
I'm tearing up, but maybe that's just because I'm a librarian. I don't know, but it always feels good to hear people talk well. I like to consider, libraries as the last bastion of democracy. It's the last place you can go, and really, we have no expectations for you. You walk in as you are. Come as you are. Be who you are. That
is actually exactly the reason why I'm so happy to be back in a public library, because I really believe in the public library mission as being, it's the people's university. It's the third place where everyone is welcome. This gives me a chance to sort of fall into my, so Alison, tell me about libraries. Well, when I think and talk about libraries, I think about libraries as kind of three things in one that are all important. So the building, the place is really important. That's why having a beautiful, comfortable library is really important. It's also the people, like you and me, who are there, whether it's the direct public service or doing preschool story time, or so the people are really important. And then there's also, what is the third thing? Oh, the stuff, the books and the computers and the online access. So that's how I really think about libraries, as this sort of holistic thing.
Right.
That matters a lot to me.
Right. And so there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be working on as the Assistant Director for Public Service to promote these aspects of librarians and libraries, not just librarians. So you're already getting involved locally. You're getting involved with the Great American Read group, right?
Yes. The Great American Read on PBS, and we should figure out how to let people know maybe later how to just Google the Great American Read, because next Tuesday, the 22nd, I think, is sort of the big kickoff. Mm-hmm. But basically, the folks at PBS, they surveyed this cross-section of American people, and they came up with this list of 100 favorite books. And it's everything from War and Peace to the Da Vinci Code to some things I haven't even heard of.
Yeah.
And in any event, Google it to find out more, but there's a big 2-hour PBS special about the Great American Read, and you should watch it. And
we're going to be doing some programming about it, so
absolutely.
Check us out, TADL.org/events.
Yeah.
For that. What else do you have going on your hopper already? You've got the Great American Reads. You've started meeting with other groups. We, our partnership.
I have just become. I've just been approved. I am now a Rotarian. I am now a member of the Rotary Club.
We're so proud of you.
I haven't been formally inducted yet, but I will be, and so I'm getting to know people that way. Within the library, I'm spending a lot of time just getting to know the different people. I'm kind of So our director, Gail Parsons, yay.
Gail Parsons.
She's in charge of a lot of stuff, mm-hmm. and deals with a lot of the whole financial thing. Like how do we fund libraries? Libraries are not free. We provide no cost to you service, but it is not free.
Right.
It is your taxpayer dollars at work,
right.
Which is important to know about. But so part of my job really is, or how I'm looking at it, is with the people I supposedly supervise within the main library and also within the branch libraries, which are, let's see if I can get this right, East Bay Branch and Kingsley.
Very good.
Fly Festival coming up in a couple weeks, so
Yep.
Be sure to go to that. So I see my role as helping librarians, facilitating their ability to do the best work they can, particularly people who are frontline, like you. You are in the Talking Book Library. You are face-to-face with people every day, giving them your best and trying to help them.
Right.
So I see part of my job is, with someone like you, sort of supporting your work, getting to know what's important to you as a librarian, making sure you have the tools and the support to do the things that you're doing. So does that sort of help give you a sense of what my work is?
Yes. Okay. And then also, you are an outward thinker. So yes, you're thinking about us and supporting staff, but you're also wanting to know this community, wanting to get it to know it better.
Well, yes, because since I'm assistant director for public service, there's public that I need to get to know. So feel free to come visit me at the library. Hunt me down.
You can find her information at TADL.org. Thank you so much for coming on today, Alison.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it as well.
Thank you.
See you at the library.
Hi, welcome back. We are with Kristi Dockter, our second guest for the day. She is the Director of Marketing for the City Opera House. Thank you so much for coming on today, Kristi.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, let's talk about what's going on at the City Opera House.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to bring you on partially because everyone loves the City Opera House.
Thank you.
Like the revitalization that you guys have brought, the whole downtown is better for your existence, the whole city.
Thank you.
We're going to say the whole region is better for your existence, right? So thank you so much for coming on. You know, as we were preparing for today, you were saying, oh yeah, we need to talk about this, we need to talk about that, we need to talk about the other thing. I'm like, yeah, well, let's
I know, it's too much, isn't it? There's a lot happening.
So let's start with, recently you were invited to Northwestern Michigan College's Campus Days, which is the extended ed day where you can like come in and they cram in a whole bunch of different speakers, talk about various topics. And you did the City Opera House history.
Yes, so we have a fabulous volunteer, Fred Anderson, and he is passionate about history. So he's been helping go through the basement. You know, think about 126 years, how much, and all the transition the building's gone through. And until fairly recently, everything's been paper, you know, and passed around. So things are coming back from Ken Zach's garage. You know, like board members have been saving it at their homes to protect it, and it's slowly coming back. So Fred got into this stuff and got very excited, and then he got me very excited because he's turned me into a historian, as you know, because you've helped me, you know, find pictures and stuff.
Right.
So you go to the NMC, contacted us and said, would you like to present? And it was last year as we were heading into our 125th year. So we said absolutely, and we got the honor of standing in front of 25 people that live in the region. And we had a full class, and we just took them through the years. And we have pictures of when it was being built, like a very rare one, you know, all the way up through today. So Fred covers a lot of the history. We've learned a lot of funny facts.
So tell me one story, one thing that you learned while doing all of this history work.
So one of the things that we both find very remarkable is City Opera House seats currently, in today's standards, 650 to 680 guests. And even on the surveys today, a taller man will still say, it feels too tight. So City Opera House, historically, when it opened, was publicly held frequently 1,100 to 1,200 people. So two things are remarkable. How do you fit 1,200 people in there?
Right.
And then you think about air conditioning was different, deodorant was different, all of those things. And then the second thing is, I mean, it often had 1,200 people. So it was, you know, it was fairly remote in 1892.
Right.
You know, so that 1,200 people were interested in the arts and community. It's kind of mind blowing to me, and that's what that kind of stuff inspires me when my spark starts to get tired. You know, to go at it again. So yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
And you said you met somebody at this event that told you a story. Could you tell
Yes,
us a story?
I hope she sees this. So this woman came up to me after, and she said, I have to tell you, in the late 70s, early 80s, there was no Y, but they had Y programs, and she took this golf class. And we have a historic curtain that has made it somehow through the years, and it's rolled up in the ceiling, you know, on the stage, and we try not to bring it down, maybe for a photo, because it's very delicate. So it's very, we're very protective of it because we know how important it is. Well, she told me a story that in her golf class, they stood on the floor and they just were whopping. It was down and they just whopped golf ball after golf ball after golf ball after it. So, and it's funny because you hear stories like that all the time. Another woman had a family member who was involved in building it. Just like people come up and tell you really neat things.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. Like what a community.
Yes.
Right?
Very, very
good.
neat.
So let's talk about what's happening in your building. So you've got a couple things going on. You've got a big announcement about your arts education program. So maybe people don't know. They have arts education. It involves students. Some of your programs bring Broadway professionals in to work directly with the students.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then you have things like the Young Playwrights Festival, which encourages, 6 winners every year?
Yeah, it's free to enter. You write a one-act play, And that was really, took a lot of education because that's less than 14 pages. So you think, oh my gosh, I have to write a play. But when you think about writing 13 pages and it's in script format, which would be, 2 in story, on your Word document, it becomes easier to convey what you're thinking. So yeah, we do that. You enter by December as a high school student, and then it comes to life and we present it on the stage. So we just finished this past year, the 7th annual. Unfortunately, a lot of people think it was the first annual because until today, or when we announce in a minute, we haven't had funding for arts education to actually get the word out. So it's been very grassroots.
Right.
So it's exciting.
So the exciting news, let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the whole City Opera House budget, 25% of the operational budget just to happen comes from grants, donations, community, and sponsors. So MSU Federal Credit Union came forward with $25,000 donation for exclusively arts education. So we are going to be able to offer scholarships. We'll be able to get the word out. We can print materials and get them to beyond TCAPS and TBISD. We're even looking for some new programs. So to make it more robust. We have this cool program called Seats for Kids, and the concept is we community members put money into Seats for Kids, and then we find at-risk kids through different programs in the area, and like the community. We've Big Brothers Big Sisters, the tribe, different groups have come in, and kids get the downtown experience, theater etiquette, and the show, right, for free. And so it's really, and whole families come. So it's not just that child you're working with. So this hopefully will be able to fund more of those also.
Oh my God.
And again, we haven't been able to tell people about Seats for Kids, so they can't share the love and help us do it. So. Right. Really exciting for us.
So it's beautiful. So thank you, MSU Credit Union,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And thank you to all of the people who have been sponsoring this over the years.
Yeah, over the years, it's really been all of us individuals, and so it's great to have a business partner. And there's several. We're working really hard on building that base so we can be more sustainable. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
It's neat. My big passion is for the kids. I get really excited about that.
Right. So you have. So you've told us about some. Take It From the Top, though. You haven't told us about Take It From the Top.
So Take It From the Top is it's heading into its 8th summer. Something really neat happened this week. The executive director of Take It From the Top is a Broadway professional. He's been in the market in the industry on Broadway for over 20 years. He performed at the Tonys for Kinky Boots. Really neat guy.
Fun.
Well, for 8 years we've known him. So this has happened to him since we've known him. The hair. And so Wednesday, I was at TEDx. He's a presenter at TEDx. So this year, our Take It From the Top guy, Paul, who's an amazing man, he has this big heart for the arts, just spoke there. So his program is he goes all over the country taking Broadway professionals who also have a passion for the arts paying forward and working with kids. And they do these Broadway camps. They're 1 week long. You work side by side with them, and they do voice, dance, and acting. And they take like one play and focus on that, and it culminates in. And they even work with them on headshots and Broadway. There's some kids in the area that have done some Broadway auditions through Paul, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I saw too that right new to this year, individual vocal coaching.
Yes.
At no additional charge.
No additional charge, which is really great. And I always think I would like to say as a parent, you see Broadway and your kids get intimidated. Don't let them be, because they're there. These are real people. They're very funny. They just happen to be very knowledgeable, so they're even better at helping your kids be comfortable and confident. They don't have to be crazy theater fans. Maybe someone who would benefit from a small group and get confidence, things like that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's neat.
So City Opera House, we got to wrap this up.
Yes.
Sorry. City Opera House just launched its season, right?
Yes.
So there's 13 new shows.
Absolutely. So 13 new shows. Go to cityoperahouse.org, go to Facebook. The first one is the Brandenburg Festival, June 10th.
Great.
And it goes all the way through May. Take a look.
Yeah, thank you so
much. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Kristi.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome back. Our last guest for today is Lynne Rae Perkins, Newbery medalist, children's author extraordinaire, ink and pen drawing aficionado, all of those things. Thank you so much for coming on today, Lynne.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So your latest book, your recently published book, not your latest, because you already told me you're working on the next one for fans of Lynne Rae's work, Secret Sisters of the Salty Sea. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
This is a story that Actually, when I started working on this book, I just had a couple of little stories that I was interested in writing about, things that happened in my own childhood.
Okay.
And I was thinking of it as a string of little stories. And then as I worked on it, it grew into more of a novel. And the stories I remembered were about my sister and I, our family. I grew up in Pittsburgh. Our family went to the Jersey seashore in the summertime. And so they started in that way. As I worked on it, they became more contemporary stories, and the characters that started as my sister and I grew into Alex and Jules, who are, when you have characters in a story, often they start with somebody that you're thinking about, but then they grow into their own people, and they start having their own experiences and their own personalities. So that's an interesting process in itself.
Yeah.
So it's about Alex and Jules and their family going to the seashore for the first time, and Alex thinks she knows what it's going to be like, but it turns out to be different in almost every way, but still good.
Right. Yeah, because originally she's thinking, oh, we're going to the beach. There'll be palm trees.
Right.
There'll be sunshine.
Turquoise water.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not like that.
The Jersey Shore isn't like that at all.
Yeah.
Not that it's not lovely.
Right.
But yeah, I think that was one of the things that I like best about your book. I haven't finished it, I'm gonna be honest, but what I have read of it, I've really enjoyed. And a big part of that is how positive everyone is. The parents are positive, the sisters are positive about the experience they're going to have. Yes, it's not quite what they thought it was going to be, but nobody gets stuck in an emotional rut where they're like, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened.
Well, Jules is going to have a little emotional rut, but she's going to get over it.
Oh no, okay, good. Thank God. Because I was really enjoying the positivity of the book, so I don't want to ruin that.
No.
I think that was one of the things too that I would say about this book, if I was going to push it to somebody else and encourage them to read it, is that there's not a whole lot of conflict. It's not a conflict-driven book. It's really about exploring.
That's true. It is about exploring.
Right. So, because some of the things that they do, what all do they do in the story? Yes, they're hanging out at the beach, but they go...
They do other things. Alex and her father go for a very long walk, which is a big deal when you're 9 years old or so.
Right.
They go to a wildlife area where Alex gets to hold a peregrine falcon.
Oh.
And she gets to release a peregrine falcon. So that's kind of a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And, she finds beach glass on the beach and figures out how to make a necklace out of it. Sometimes people say, reviewers say that my books are about small things, but to me these seem like really big things. Yeah. So.
Yeah, especially if we're talking about 9-year-old kids. Yeah. I can imagine, especially ones that haven't had these exact experiences, they can go, oh, that's something I can do. I could do that too.
Yeah, and I think it says that the thing that you're experiencing is big too.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love that. Right, I have my notes here. Oh, the pen and ink drawings. I should have pulled one up beforehand, but can you tell us a little bit about that process? Like, that's a whole nother part of what you do.
I do pen and ink drawings, but these are actually watercolor and drawings done with a brush with gray and black watercolor.
Oh, there's a nice big one there.
And when I was in college, I was an art major, and in grad school, I was a printmaking student, and so I learned to express things through drawing before. I always wrote for classes, and I read a lot, but I never really tried to write something officially until I was 35 years old.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So second career.
So, in my first books, in my first novels, I would do drawings just as a way to reassure myself that I knew how to do something. But I found that they express ideas in a different way than words do, and in a complementary way. No news to anyone else, but I enjoyed figuring that out. And I love making pictures that help tell the story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially the age group that you're reaching to. Having those visuals can be so important, those visual cues that say, oh yes, what I'm reading and understanding obviously is an important part of the book because she took the time to illustrate it. So so that can be good for struggling readers. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. They can enter it that way.
Yeah. Would you encourage that people read this book out loud? with each other? Do you encourage sharing, or would you say this is definitely a solo project for an individual reader?
I think that I often think of my books as things that parents would share with their children. And I think this could be a good example because it might be, it's a young novel, so it might be a little challenging for people who are reading their first novels, and it might be helpful to have a parent read it along with them.
Okay.
But for kids who are up to it, they should just go for it.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. What else I have other questions, right? I think one of my favorite visual things, so I don't remember if there was a drawing with it, but one of my favorite stories in here, like little snippet of story that you're talking about, these little experiences. They meet a boy on the beach, and he's not, I don't think he's trying to be a bully, but he kind of is, and he ruins their sandcastle, right, by pouring potato chips all over it.
Right. He's running down the beach. They've made this elaborate sandcastle, which they're sitting back and admiring, and a boy runs down the beach. Two boys run down the beach.
Oh,
the
that's
first
right,
one
yeah.
has a bag of potato chips, and he trips on their sandcastle, and it goes up in the air, covers their sandcastle with potato chips, which then seagulls attack, and it's this amazing thing to watch, the seagulls eating all the potato chips on
Right.
the sandcastle. That actually came, a friend of my son's family has a tradition. They go to the beach every summer, and they build a sandcastle, and they dump a bag of potato chips on and
Oh.
watch that happen. I thought that was kind of magnificent, but I felt that I should not encourage kids to do that because I think...
Right. maybe we don't want to be feeding the wildlife,
Right. But if it happens...
But if it happens, and there happens to develop a living sculpture out of it,
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you have an event coming up. If people want to meet you, get a signed copy of the book, you're going to be here at...
This Sunday, 2 to 4.
This
and
Sunday, 2 to 4. So that is Sunday, May 21st.
That's right. Right.
Right.
No, May 20th.
20th.
And I hear it's going to be drizzly and in the 50s, so what better thing to do than come?
Right.
We're going to have I made a fake bonfire.
Oh.
Which was very fun to do.
Oh, man, that sounds like a blast.
And we'll have snacks, and I think we'll have some art supplies because this book, in a lot of ways, is about things that Alex is doing for the first time. And so I want to encourage kids to think about something that they did for the first time and maybe write about it or draw a picture. And if they do that, they can come and enter, and we'll be giving away a free copy of the book, just
Oh my gosh.
a raffle kind of thing.
Wild.
So
That sounds like the most fun you can have on a drizzly Sunday.
it could work.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on, Lynne Rae. We all encourage you to pick up Secret Sisters of the Salty Sea. It's all about being at the beach, exploring, and having fun. So thank you so much.
Thank you.